to listen first-hand experience from our former students from Asasi, like Miss Farah Fisal is our recent Asasi Tesl from Dengkil, Miss Farah student, and also Mr. Khairul Azri, who was with us. When was that, Mr. Azri?
2000. I graduated in 2011.
11, so that was a long time ago. Let's not talk about the math here. We all know what we are like with math, Tesl students here. Okay, of course, for our viewers, we are online right now, live on YouTube. Please drop questions. We have a person in charge who will go through your questions. We do, however, only will respond to questions pertaining to the experience of being an Asasi Tesl student, as well as degree Tesl students. If you have any questions pertaining to the curriculum or the assessment, and anything academic, I would strongly recommend that you attend a talk by the Faculty of Education UiTM tomorrow morning. Okay, all right. Let's start. Let's get the ball rolling. We'll start with Mr. Khairul Azri Muhammad Khalid. Maybe you can start off with telling us a little bit about yourself.
Sure, thank you, Madam Shima. Hi everyone, my name is Khairul Azri Muhammad Khalid. Currently, I'm on my own business, a social business, Discover Muay Thai. I'm the co-founder and also COO of Discover Muay Thai. I was in UiTM, again, I graduated in 2011, but I first joined as a pre-degree. Back then it was pre-degree, in 2006, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so over the past few years, before I started my own social business, I was with an NGO called Youth Trust Foundation for about 8 years. So that was my first official job right after I graduated, because my passion is into contributing back to the society. So my Harapan Youth Trust Foundation gave that avenue, that platform for me to give back. And I learned a lot. My learning curve like super steep when I was there. And during my days in My Harapan also, I got to know about the concept of social enterprise, social business. Hence why I started Discover Muay Thai together with two of other partners in 2015. So as of today, we are on the 6th year of running the social business, and Alhamdulillah, we have created some impact into our beneficiary, which are the at-risk youth that we are helping. So yeah, that's about me.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Azri. We definitely looking forward to ask a lot of questions actually I haven't seen you for so long. I have a lot of questions about what you're doing, how the program has helped you. But before we get into that, let's talk to Ms. Farah, if you can tell us a bit about yourself.
All right, thank you, Madam Shima. Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. I am Farah Adila binti Muhammad Fisal. I am currently in semester 7, degree in Tesl in UiTM Inshallah. I'm still a student. I haven't graduated yet. Inshallah by the end of this year. Pray for me. So I am here to share with all of you my experience, or to give you ideas and pictures how it is like to be a Tesl degree student in UiTM Inshallah. So a little bit more about myself is I am actively involved in SMFP and PMDS. So what is SMFP? SMFP is Secretariat Mahasiswa Fakulti Pendidikan. It is an organization that is working directly working under HEP, Halewal Plaza of Faculty of Education, and PMDS. I believe most of you are familiar with PMDS already. It is Pemimpin Minggu Dasani Siswa. So basically, the facilitator that you see during your orientation week, MDS. So that's what I am. What else? That's all, I guess. If you have any questions, you can ask. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Farah. So ni kakak Fesi lah ni.
Maybe.
Okay, all right. So as you can see, we have carefully selected 2 people who can give us experience from the two end of the spectrum. One who has already started working, Mr. Khairul Azri, who started working a long time ago. He's done a lot of things, and Ms. Farah, who is currently doing Tesl. Of course, my first question will be, this will be a little bit down memory lane for you, Mr. Azri. Why did you decide to do Tesl?
Oh no, this is the question that I was hoping. Okay, it's a super long story, but since you mentioned we have until 10, so I'll try to explain in a not so lengthy kind of but also engaging lah. So actually, Tesl was actually not my first choice. When I was exploring the courses, in universities, because back then I was not so keen to further my studies in universities. So back then I was like very chill, go with the flow, lantak lah nak jadi apa, but my mom really wanted me to pursue my studies in university, so I follow lah. So I was from technical school, Sekolah Teknik Gombak, and I did mechanical engineering. So my passion back then was into technical drawing, lukisan kejuruteraan, and I aced lukisan kejuruteraan. I got A1, and my teacher back then gave a very good feedback on my performance. So back then I wanted to become an architect lah. So unfortunately, when I was applying, so I didn't buy the UPU code. Everybody was, applying online, get that code from BSN lah, whatever, right? So I was the only one in my class who didn't get the code. So I applied manually. So when I was applying, when I was filling up the form, it states there, calon yang rabun warna / buta warna tidak dibenarkan bukan tidak dibenarkan, there was this clause lah about colorblind. So I am a colorblind, right? So that was somehow shattered my dream to become an architect or even engineer. So I didn't apply for those courses. So when I was looking at the results and everything, so there was this counselor from UTM, because my mom worked in UTM. So he advised me, since I did well in my English language subject, so he encouraged me to apply Tesl. I didn't even know what Tesl was. So I guess God works in a very, mysterious way, and it's a blessing in disguise. How Tesl somehow developed my personal capacity lah, which I will talk more later. To answer your question, it was actually purely coincidental. It was not. I didn't even know what Tesl was, but when I joined and I enrolled in the program. I guess now looking back at things, I am just thankful why I choose Tesl, and also how I have developed from who I was, very timid, very introverted, still am, but Tesl gave that exposure, that a lot of the different subjects in Tesl developed me as a person. So to answer, that was the story of how I chose Tesl. Yeah, thank you, Anishma.
So basically, you didn't choose Tesl. A counselor chose Tesl for you. I think if there's something that we can learn from there, for our viewers, it's important for you to speak to someone.
Yes.
To speak to someone who can actually help you find out more about a program.
Correct.
With the current policy, you don't have to be in Asasi Tesl to be able to do a degree Tesl, which is not the case with during your time, Ms. Azri, but which is the case now. The policy is a bit different now.
Yeah. Because I think there are a lot of students who are currently in my position, when they want to choose whichever course, right? They are totally they don't know, they haven't discovered themselves what their passion are, right? So I think talking to apart from your parents, talking to subject matter experts or even a career counselor would help. I did even this career test on which potential career that suits me, and it was all directed to architecture and the technical side, like the engineering and seni bina. So, but unfortunately, when I applied, there was that clause. So totally, I need to change. So, but it worked well for me, alhamdulillah.
All right, so I'll get back to you, Mr. Azri, because I know you also have a lot to talk about how the program has helped you. I'm going to ask now, Miss Farah, are you like Mr. Azri? You had no idea what to do after your Asasi Tesl, or were you one of those students who say, I'm going to do Tesl, I don't care, I will try my very best, I'll do it. Is that how it is for you?
I'm the second one. I'm gonna get Tesla. I'm gonna do. So basically, as for me, wait. I'm sorry for that. All right, sorry. All right. Well, as for me, Tesla been my first, had been and has been my first choice because I have been exposed to Tesla since I was in secondary school because my sister is taking Tesl as well. So I already know like, oh, Tesl, belajar ni. We learn that. We learn literature. We learn reading, grammar, writing, and drama. We like basically I already know what it is. So that's why I think like, okay, I'm gonna go for English, and coincidentally I like English. I love English. So in that case, I just need to think the teaching part because we know Tesla we have teaching English as a second language, right? So so I don't know what to say, but so to simply put in words, I just really love English so much. I want to do more with English, not just by reading or speaking, or just about grammar, but also like literature. You know, where we read and we analyze things, we analyze the story, we analyze the issues. I like those kind of things, so that's why That's why I chose Tesl. Even during my Asasi foundation and also degree. And alhamdulillah lah, I get into degree kan because it was quite hard actually to masuk and sambung degree, right? So alhamdulillah lah. So that is basically all lah for me.
All right, so basically you're like, as I was saying, the two types of students that we often have here. Whenever I talk to my students, they will always say, I don't know what to do after my Asasi, or I will have another group of students who will say, oh, I want to do Tesl, I must do Tesl. So you fall under that category, yeah, Miss Farah? So you were talking about just now about teaching. Is teaching a profession that you see yourself doing after you graduate from the program?
Well, actually, both of my parents are educators. So, you know, growing up with them teaching. So I kind of like grown an interest in teaching as well, actually. And I think and from that, I think even during Asasi, I started to develop interest and love towards teaching. You know, especially when it comes to kids as well. I love kids as well. I love teaching kids, but I'm trying to, you know, to learn more and more and more because I'm not sure.
You're not sure yet whether you would want to go into the teaching profession.
I mean, as for now, I wanted to, like after degree, I wanted to pursue masters. If ada rezeki, I will try that one. Because I know at this time we need to have at least masters to be lecturers, right? If I'm not mistaken. So I will, like as for now, my plan is to get to pursue masters, and then I will try to get into teaching profession lah.
So you do want to go into the teaching profession. It's just that you're probably still deciding which audience.
Yeah, whether kids, you know, secondary school or university, I'm still thinking about that.
But the program trains you towards becoming a teacher, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Azri, you're not in the teaching profession, or did you have any? Do you have any teaching experience actually?
I did, of course, definitely during the practicum when I was studying in semester 7 back then. Of course, there was this 3 months practicum session that everybody is, placed in a school for us to teach, right? For us to apply whatever that we have learned, and also to it's the real world lah out there. So the 3 months practicum was officially, I was a teacher, a trainee teacher in SMK Lelaki Bukit Bintang, PJ. And I think that was the only official teaching position as a teacher for me. Because right after I graduated, I immediately joined My Harapan, the foundation that I was mentioning just now, as a youth engagement department executive. So at the foundation, capacity building was partly one of the job scopes that I have to deliver. So teaching per se, there wasn't. It was just during the practicum, but I did apply whatever that I've learned during my Tesl years into all these trainings and workshops, and we did some coaching and mentoring of some of the youth who wanted to come up with social enterprise idea. Yeah, I did utilize all the knowledge, and also I did apply things like classroom management, psychology, literature, drama, especially, a lot of all these exciting courses I did apply in my working years in My Harapan, and up until today I still remember and still apply. So as a teacher, officially teacher, that was during the practicum 3 months, but I have been teaching, and also coaching, and also helping all these youth, because during my years in My Harapan and the youth engagement department for 8 years, I have traveled across Malaysia, Sabah, Sarawak, even so we went to universities, we went to outskirts of, we went to suburbs, we went to rural areas, just to engage with the youth of Malaysia. Because Youth Trust Foundation, their vision back then was to empower Malaysian youth. So my job was to really, shout to them, saying that, hey guys, if you have awesome ideas, if you have, if you want to change, if you want to take action, come to My Harapan, come to Youth Trust Foundation. We are here. We can assist you. We can connect you to the right people. We can provide the right platform for you to realize your idea. Because back then, I think the red tapes, if you want to go into, if you are looking for fundings, if you're looking for mentors, if you're looking for, networking, it was a bit challenging. But 2011, 2012, and then after the creation of MAGIC, Malaysian Global Innovation and Creative Center, all these ideas, all this effort was a bit more made easier. So yes, that was my experience in applying the teaching skills, I would say. Yeah.
You've obviously applied that skill, Mr. Azri, because I have several questions here which you have already all answered. All my questions I was about to ask you, how has the program helped you to develop into the person that you are, how it has helped you to do, perform and excel in what you're doing right now. I think all of us got that. You're saying that you might not be in the real teaching profession,
Yes.
but at the end of the day, whatever you did, you were able to apply those skills, because at the end of the day, I think all of us are teachers in one way or another. I am intrigued by the fact that you said you worked with a lot of youth. So I'm sure you can see with your experience some of the skills that our youth are lacking. And when seeing that, do you think going back to the program, do you think that our program would help our future students or candidates to be able to have those, to develop those skills?
Oh, definitely. Because just for your information, my scope of engagement it doesn't it's not just university students, the privileged ones. I also engage mostly actually the bigger chunk of my engagement activities back then was developing at-risk youth, the underprivileged youth who didn't have that opportunities or that platform to excel, since they are not educationally, in terms of academic, they are quite weak, but they are street smarts. So for this group of people, maybe university, or going into university is such a far-fetched idea for them. They don't even it was exactly like me lah. I was very laid back, lantak lah apa nak jadi, because back then I was ni kan, so I don't want to go into that. So but for the group of students that do want to go into universities and do have vision in their life, some of the skills that were lacking definitely is, number one is communication and also self-confidence. So communication, it's as simple as communicating their interest, communicating their passion, what they want to be in 5 years time, where they see themselves in 5 years time. It was very hard. Maybe they had that idea, that they know they want to achieve something, but communicating it to people, they just don't know how to verbalize, and also their flow of thought kind of it wasn't there lah. So they have to. So I have to do like activities like you draw your dream house, for example. You draw where your dream, a lot of different things lah. So from there, then we have to do a FGD. FGD is a focus group discussion, and then from there we have to interview. We have to ask further, dig deeper into their passion, into their interest. If they are facing any challenges in their lives. So up to that extent. So based on my observation, working with all these youth for this category, is communication is number one, very, very much lacking. This is in Malay, not even English. This is in Malay. And also, of course, the second one is their self-confidence lah. I mean, of course, most of my engaged youth are mostly from Malay communities. They have not been exposed to be friends with other race, for example. They haven't they are in their bubble, simply to speak, right? And for those who live in Project Perumahan Rakyat, these high-rise flats, right? PPR, it was an initiative by the government. Back then when we had squatters, what is squatters? What do you call that? Sorry, squatters. Setinggan, yes, setinggan, sorry. So back then we had all these squatters, tinggan, right? So government had this initiative to move them to PPR project. But unfortunately, their mindset, dekat high-rise building pun tak berubah. So for example, dekat level 12, diorang duduk dekat level yang tinggi-tinggi, they just simply throw, heavy, rubbish, pampers lah, apa semua, just simply throw out of the window, and then kena kepala orang lah, that mentality. So these issues, back then I was trying to, because capacity building is part of my job scope, so I was addressing these issues first, in terms of their self-confidence, break the ice first, because they need to build the trust, and then I go into developing their communication skills, because we had series of engagement sessions with this group of people. So definitely number one is communication skills and also self-confidence lah. So once these two were what do you call that, engaged or broken, as in you get to know them, they know you, they trust you, a whole lot of other things you can empower them to be. So I guess these two, from my observation, of course there are others, but these two are very much lacking. And I think Tesl, if they were to apply to Tesl, Tesl brings up those skills, automatically, because you got to be a teacher. You got to stand in front of a crowd. You got to teach. You got to, everybody will, the limelight is on you. So your body language, your voice projection, how you manage the group, small group, bigger group, my biggest group was how many? 4,300, I think, in UKM. Yes, I had this talk on social business. So how do we manage 4,300 crowd? Because I was teaching social business 101. What is social business? What are the principles? So in a large, hall, so all the values, or all the what do you call that? The learnings from Tesl gave me that confidence to just be out there and manage lah, for whatever scale of audience that you have. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. 4,000, that's definitely a big group. Yeah, there's definitely a big group. And I think if you're telling me right now that Tesl has played a huge role in helping you to become a good speaker to a 4,000 strong crowd, that says a lot about the program. I'm going to talk to Ms. Farah now. So just now, Mr. Azri was saying that, among the skills that our youths are lacking are communication skills, self-confidence. I think a little bit about mentality, civic-mindedness. Ms. Farah, do you think you have been able to enhance? I'm sure you are already a good communicator. You are very confident and you have positive mentality. But do you think the program has helped you to become even better than where you are right now?
All right. To answer that question, of course, sure, definitely. Because all right, to compare myself, let's say during school and Asasi and degree, I can say that I have developed my confidence skill, communication skill, leadership, and so many other things. Because first of all, when we look at the subject, the Tesl course itself, we have drama, we have micro teachings, right? We have literature, we have video theater, we have all of this assessment are related to, in building and developing your self-confidence. We have, we learn about informative speech, persuasive speech. So from that, all of this assessment really gonna help you to build up your confidence. That is one, and also communication. Okay, let's take a look at radio theater, right? So radio theater, we have to perform in front of an audience. Doesn't matter 10 people, 100 people, we still have to, we have to act. We have to show emotion. We have to our voice. We have to, voice projection, and also this is also related to acting. We also have one of the assessment is like a short film, or where you have to basically act in front of the rest of your classmates, the rest of your batch members. And also, other than that, I would like to mention about micro teaching, especially teaching. So when you teach, okay, you have to imagine yourself as a teacher, right? What you have to do is, when you have to teach, you need to have the confidence. You are in charge of the classroom, in charge of the students, right? You have to know how to communicate. So if you look at micro teaching during degree, it definitely gonna help you with that lah. Because the preparation, the consultation with the lecturer is definitely gonna help you with improving your communication skills. Sama juga macam during Asasi, I remembered informative and persuasive speech. That is when I learned about attention grabber. Like when you do this and you ask your audience, what do you have in your hand? And then the rest of the audience is like, what? Ayam, they say ayam, ABC, numbers. But then I would say, I got your attention. This is your attention. Something like that. So it's kind of like amazing, to learn about attention grabber. That is one. And then like Mr. Azri said just now about eye contact body gesture, voice projection. So little things like this. But it is actually very crucial tau in developing your communication skill lah. Ni pun will be implemented in your degree year, especially for presentation. Trust me, during degree year there will be lots of presentation, gallery walk. So throughout this 4 years, or it's 8 semesters, you have like I mentioned just now, presentation, short film, reader's theatre, micro teaching, gallery walk, where you have to speak in front of people, in front of your classmates, where you when you have eyes on you. So it definitely gonna help you in developing your communicating skills. I think that is all. What else could I?
So is it safe for me to say that you become a better communicator? Definitely more confident, I would say.
Yeah, I would say so. Like I remember during my my final class during Asasi with one of the lecturers. We had a session where we want to share anything. So I shared about this one thing where I said that I was very insecure when I was in high school. Even when I wanted to take pictures, salah tinggi ke apa ke, I just have to like cover my face like this, like when I have to crop my face, I will have to avoid uploading pictures of myself that have my face. So how complicated is that, right? But during when I graduated from Uitm Dengkil, I was in Tesl, and I'm still learning in Uitm degree in Tesl. I noticed that I have changed a lot, especially in terms of communication, in terms of confidence, because during high school, during Asasi, in the early stage, in the early month, I was like, oh my god, jangan tengok aku, macam tu tau. Macam, even in the class pun, I was like, don't pick me, macam lecture, jangan, don't pick me, I don't want that. Macam tu tau. It was, ya Allah, memang tak tahulah kenapa masalah budak ni. Tapi I would say that especially during degree, bila degree ni, we have lots of orang kata tu, I would say extracurricular punya like activities, organization, events. So when I joined that, when I involved myself into this kind of club, events, activities itu kan, it definitely 100% will develop myself lah, holistically. It doesn't matter, leadership boleh, what else, communication, in terms of creativity as well. So memang hebat lah juga, sebab I know that I was very insecure dulu. I don't want to talk, I don't want to speak in English pun. I don't want to be seen. But now it's not that I want to be seen, it's just that I like to give people something, tak kisahlah ideas ke, even to teach them ke, to be mentor ke, untuk kawan-kawan kan. Memang I would say starting from Asasi Tesl, time tu mula kecil-kecil lah, macam still shy cat. But when I get into degree, I involved in Tesl, the assessment, the course itself, and even the extracurricular punya involvement. Memang it will definitely help you in developing your and enhancing yourself lah. Memang berkesan lah orang kata. I mean, look at me now, I can talk, right? Before this, I just don't want. Yeah.
Okay, I think the most interesting part, all that we said was interesting. It's just that what really intrigued me was the part where you said that when you were, when you started off with us at Pusat Asasi Dengkil, you were very shy, you were not as confident as you are right now. You really wanted to be at the back, you don't want to be in the limelight and whatnot. And then now that you're in the final year, you've become I must say, a total contrast of that, based on what you were saying, a total contrast of that. And because of that, let's be honest to ourselves right now, a lot of people, students, a lot of people in the public actually say that, because of this change, that's when they started to have like a negative perception about Tesl students or people with Tesl background. I'm asking this actually because we have a question from Ms. Divana Zamian. question is, what's your opinion? I think both of you can answer this question. We'll start with Mr. Azri. What's your opinion on society's negative stigma against the Tesl course or the arts or humanities field in general? Mr. Azri?
Prove them wrong. I mean, it's we had this throughout the years of studying in Tesl, right? Our peers, our kenalan semua yang buat other courses semua, they label a few courses lah. Tesl is one of them, among other. I think you guys know lah, the famous courses yang selalu kena pangkah, yang selalu kena chop, macam-macam lah, right? So I think the question was how what is my opinion on this? For me, pedulikan apa yang orang nak cakap, alright, whatever misconception they have, whatever stories they heard, whatever observation they made, they were not in the program. Maybe they they just heard things, but for me, you prove them wrong lah. Because for me, Tesl, it's as Miss Farah just now mentioned, it's a well-rounded kind of course. Because at first when I heard Tesl, I thought, jadi cikgu English je, macam, back then we had this that notion of cikgu je, but actually being a teacher is more than that, So at the back of our head of my head is Tesl is jadi cikgu, but we didn't but like Miss Farah did, she had that exposure lah. Like for me, I didn't know whatever courses that this program offers, right? So it's well-rounded, and also it exposed me with all these other skills, like macam contohnya management, because from my extracurricular activities, right? So we have this club called Ethos Society. So Ethos Society, basically we do theatres, we do production management, we do a lot of things lah. So theatre, bayangkan, I was also like very like Miss Farah lah. I was very shy. I tak reti nak cakap in front of the crowd semua tu. So with Ethos punya what do you call that, exposure, I had both, because production is backstage, the stage crew and everything, and actors lah, the performers. So I had that exposure mostly on the back end, managing the props, managing the production, becoming a sponsorship punya. I was in charge in sponsorship punya area. So we work with a lot of third parties outside UiTM. So we work with corporate entities. We work with a lot of different people, which this experience somehow gave me that wealth of experience before I go into the real world. Right now I'm managing my own business. So you bayangkan, from Tesl, and then now I manage my business. So I didn't have any business background. I didn't have any account background. I didn't have any whatsoever background related to business. But I can, alhamdulillah, for the 5 years, we have managed and we have delivered, not just on the business side, we have delivered social impact as well. So it's two, in one. So just ignore whatever people want to say. Just prove that you have a great direction in your life. For me, my advice would be, look at what do you want to be. If let's say you want to become a lecturer, if you don't want to be in the teaching profession, if you want to be in whatever industries, look at how you can add value to that particular industry. Because of course, teaching profession is number one lah. Is for me, it's the most noble profession. But doesn't mean becoming because most of not most I think some of our my peers they prefer not to go into teaching profession, which I think is fine, and including me. So but what is it that you can add value if you are into broadcasting, if you are into whatever industries? And that's one more thing about Tesl. We can go into different area, different industries. You just name it. Tesl, we can just plug and play. We adapt easily. So just add value to whatever scope of work that you are doing, and contribute and become a contributing citizen. So yeah.
Actually, Mr. Azri, the one part that you were talking about, you said jadi cikgu je kan. I think that's another stigma to extend the question by Ms. Jevana right now. That's another stigma actually. A lot of students, in fact, I have many of my students nowadays also asking, kena jadi cikgu ke? In a very degrading or demeaning or negative intonation. Kita tahulah kan, kita belajar reader status semua, so we know, we read intonation, we read body language. And I think that's another stigma actually. Has your experience as a Tesl student actually changed that perception, because you started off as someone who didn't know anything about the Tesl program, and you did have that perception that jadi cikgu je, which I try my very best as a lecturer here. I think all my lecturers here as well also, we try our very best to say, you should not say je at the end. When you use the word je, it means a lot of negativity. There's a negative connotation to that. So how has the program changed that perception? Because it's also a form of stigma.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I had that thought of becoming just a teacher, cikgu je, I was like, we have one semester, because I just got to know that you after you went through one semester, and then you are allowed to change course lah, with the intake lah. So I was like, okay lah, kita test dulu lah, one semester, kalau tak suka I just switch lah to other course, maybe masa tu, right? So when I was in pre-degree in Malacca, Uitm Lendu, right? It was for me, because some of the courses totally like becoming a teacher back then. I was expecting courses like English lah, reading, writing, and then reading, writing, listening, speaking. So we had those subjects, but there are also other things like I totally forgot the courses back in 2011. But it's not just teaching. First, it teaches you how to teach. That's a big difference. It's teaching you how to teach, and also it's the whole science of becoming a performer. Someone who is out there, who is facing people, other people, interacting with other people, managing people. So it's the whole science. So for me, it's that stigma totally vanished, even during the first semester itself. And alhamdulillah, I was lucky lah. When I was in pre-degree, it was automatic punya placement. So after I finished 2 sems pre-degree, automatically masuk degree, right? So I was like, okay lah, I'm all set, because after this I just automatically go into degree. So this is a good for me, a good program for me to learn further, because when I was reading the degree, because masa tu dah masuk universiti, dah berubah sikit lah, nak eager to know what's next for me, right? So when I look at degree punya the course description, the programs, or there's a lot other things that somehow expose me to not just being a teacher, but also as a wholesome individual, a well-rounded individual, that you can actually all the skills learned in Tesl, in this program, can bring you anywhere you go. You can live with all the skills, even though yes, the core program teaches you all the linguistics part, the side linguistic punya ni, grammar and everything. We have those things, but if you are proactive enough, if you are eager enough to learn more, there's a whole lot of other skills that you will develop through Tesl program. So yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Azri. So I think you've answered that question really well. Just forget about it. Don't care about what people have to say about the program. And also, I'm going to ask the same question to Farah, because Miss Farah, because just now, Miss Azri, of course, it's easy for us to say that because we are already in, working life. So it's easy for us to say, forget about it, just do it, you can do it and whatnot. But I think for Asasi students, diploma students, STPM students, sometimes they can't see that far. So we need to see, a short term, so to speak, short term coping mechanism on how to help them if they want to go into the Tesl program, and yet they're very much aware of the stigma that comes with Tesl programs or any other arts or humanities programs. So Ms. Farah, how do you suggest, or how did, if you, I don't know if you went through the stigma, but I'm sure you have had friends who probably talked about the stigma. How do you think, or what do you think you can suggest to our potential candidates to, deal with that stigma?
All right. Before that, I just want to share like a few incidents during Asasi. I still remember that when we were, hanging around in Anjung Dengkil, the ones who are gonna, there's gonna be Tesl students lah. You cannot deny that lah. Most of the time, but sometimes other students from different courses pun macam law pun ada je. They do, make the same noise. But we need to know that to change societal mindset is not easy. It's quite hard, definitely. But it's on them actually. They shouldn't be generalizing us, not just Tesl, but any other thing. They shouldn't be generalizing anything at all, because just like what Mr. Azri said, prove them wrong. For example, what you can do, I think my suggestion is, if you really want to prove them wrong as a Tesl student itself, you need to you be friends with them and you show our potential. We are not just some random Tesl student who just make noise or something like that. But we are more than that. We're not just comparing. Maybe for them, Tesl is just like also easy compared to law, compared to engineering, sciences. But every person faces different challenges. They have their own effort, so you cannot generalize that. So maybe, like I said before, one of the way that you can do is maybe you can be friends with them and show your potential. Prove, like what Mr. Azri said, prove them wrong. Show that you are more than just what just you are more than what is being stated from the society or the community ke kan. So that is what I would suggest lah. I as far as I remember during Asasi, I've never encountered the incident like directly on me, towards me, but I've heard some other friends, they have encountered those kind of issues, but not me. But yeah, so that's what I would suggest lah.
All right, thank you, Ms. Farah. I think you are well on your way. I think Tesl program has done a good job. The faculty has done a good job, because your answer is exactly the same with my answer when I asked, whenever students ask me that question, Madam Shima, what do we do? Whether we like it or not, like I said just now, for me and Mr. Azri, it's easy. We are already 10 years to almost 20 years ago that we were in the program. So we are already at that level where we don't care what people have to say. But whether we like it or not, for an 18, 19-year-old, this is important. And some of them really care about what the society has to say. And I think it's very, the insight that you have given just now to just make friends with them and prove them wrong. Yes, as we said, prove them wrong, and you're saying make friends with them so that they can see the person that you are, and maybe then get them to the dark side with us, and be just like Tesl students. Okay, I have another question. I think Mr. Azri, just now you said that you were an introvert, and Ms. Farah also. You mentioned just now, you started off with us at Asasi Tesl as someone who was shy and didn't want to be in the limelight and all that. But you're a totally different person right now. You're here right now talking to us. So the question given to us right now is, as an introvert, how did you survive in a program which pushes you to be out there? This is something definitely true, isn't it? I know sometimes my students who have graduated, they will come and see me and say, Mishima, you push us. Sometimes we hate you, but you push us like you don't care, like you don't even know that we actually don't want to be out there or in front of the classroom. One of my most common statements would be, the floor is yours. I always say, the floor is yours. Go and do what you're supposed to do. But it's true. It is a program that actually pushes you to be out there, and a lot of potential students feel that Tesl should be exclusively for extroverts. What do you think, Ms. Farah?
Well, I personally think that Tesla isn't supposedly to only be for extrovert person, because let's say if you are an introvert person and you want to be an extrovert person, but you don't know how, like what platform you should use, then I think going for Tesla is definitely one of the best, one of the effective ways lah. Sebab memang, like I mentioned before, the assessment, the even the surrounding, and Mr. Azri said before, it is a all-rounder punya. It builds us to be an all-rounder person, kan? But to how to say what about you, Mr. Azri? It's quite hard, this question.
The question is actually, how do you survive? How would you survive? Because I think that a lot of potential candidates are saying, I'm an introvert, I don't know how to go to the front. We can tell you, you have the introduction and you have the conclusion, the body, the development, just be there. But saying it is easy than to actually do it, right? And I think it's extra difficult and challenging for an introvert. Yeah. So we'll go to Ms. Adri now.
For a while.
That's the best thing about the program. It's daunting for the students while we were studying, but that's what pushed us to come up from our little shell and try. Because back then at my school, we didn't have all this sekolah teknik, right? We didn't have all this presentation punya approach, very much discussion based, independent learning, right? So back then it was very traditional approach lah. Teacher ajar, we jot down notes and everything. So there was no, this is me talking from my personal experience. There was no, of course there were a few, but there wasn't much. It was not enough for me to really go out there and have that confidence in really just stand in front of just a classroom and talk for maybe 10-15 minutes. I didn't have that opportunity. So by enrolling in Tesl program, part of the assessment is you have to go out there and you have to talk, and the floor is yours.
Yes.
So by hook or by crook, you got to figure out a way. I had some of embarrassing moments when I was in pre-degree, even during when my first year of my degree years, right? First semester, in terms of I blanked. In the middle of presentation, I didn't know what to. I started off okay lah, but then I forgot one point, and then all these experiences somehow taught you that because Tesl it's not just that it's not that just one moment that you need to present. there are other opportunities, because how we were assessed was 5% from this presentation, 10% you have a slightly bigger scale kind of presentation, another 15% you have to act, you have to do a sketch, for example, you have to perform. So all these different form of assessments mewajibkan for us to be in front of the crowd. So for an introvert person, I mean, I'm not 100 or my percentage after I did my personality test, I was 65% introverted, 35% extrovert. So there are qualities that I can somehow just switch for me to become extroverted. But for those who are massively introverted, I mean, you got to do it. If you don't do it, you will be not penalized. I mean, you don't get the marks. So you just have to do it and experience. And I've known people who are very introverted. They looked very shy at first, but throughout the years, the program somehow it automatically develops your self-confidence. You automatically will enhance your presentation skills, your speech, your flow of thoughts. Because when I did Tesl, we learn creative writing. We learn what else? There are all these courses. I'm not sure whether all these courses are still there. I hope they are still, but all these courses, develop my mental capacity and capability to just susun ayat and my gestures also, and that somehow for me is a blessing in disguise. Why? When I look back at all these years, right? God really alhamdulillah, God has paved my way, dia punya cara kan. So it develops me to become a well-rounded person. And also, although I am an introvert, because at times I just want to be, I just don't want anybody to be with. I just want to be by myself. I just want to sit in my little cocoon, right? So, but Tesl gave me that skill to just switch, if I'm needed to for example interview, for example give a speech, for example whatever that requires an audience, we can just switch easily, inshallah.
That actually goes hand in hand with, it's consistent with what you mentioned just now, Mr. Azri, the skills that our youth right now are lacking: communication skills, confidence, thinking ahead of time, being prepared, readiness, and whatnot. So these are the skills that you had, but further enhanced and reinforced through the program, and now you are contributing back to the society. And like you said, it's the program that had helped you to do that. Ms. Farah, I can see you nodding the whole time whenever Mr. Azri said presentation. Do you have a lot of presentations there? As a Tesl student, is it like all the time?
Oh my God. I would say yes, definitely. In every subject, in every semester, there must be one of the assessment has to be, it's either presentation or gallery walk. So presentation where you have to present the topics of the content of the course, that subject, and then a gallery walk, like poem that you have to present about haiku, tangka, and all of that. Memang there, ya Allah, memang there's gonna be so many presentation. I couldn't describe it. Memang banyak sangat. Tapi actually it's good lah, sebab first you're gonna be a teacher, then of course you need to constantly improve your communication and especially confidence. Confidence can sometimes naik turun kan. So when you have presentation every semester, it will kind of prep you up, especially for practicum. And also micro teaching is kind of like presentation, but not presentation. It's more like teaching, but masih lebih kurang macam presentation lah. So it also preps you up for that as well sebenarnya. So my point is, walaupun there's so many presentations sampai kita orang macam why, but it's actually macam ada a brighter side lah, brighter side of it, macam tu.
I just want to add something, Madam Shima, on a little advice lah on those introverted, right? I'm sure there are a lot out there. By joining Tesl program, you are not becoming someone else. You don't convert yourself to become an extroverted, or you don't change lah. So my advice would be you learn the skills on how to be in front of people. You can keep on being introverted. I mean, I do personality test, personality training in my one of my modules, right? So my point to them is always there is no one character greater than the other. God has made us, with our own unique characteristic. You extroverted ke, you introverted ke, you are not, more than others. Kita semua sama. But how you are being an introverted person, you don't want to be you don't want to be seen or to just stay in your little bubble, right? So by being in Tesl program, you learn the skills, you acquire all these skills, and also you expose yourself in practicing talking to people and whatnot, so that when you are in the real world. And right now, you can, the real world needs, human touch, because we have IoT, we have all these, technology is rapidly growing, right? So we need those human touch in every industry. So Tesl gave us that skills, that exposure for us to, as an introverted person, to learn. But some people, of course, they change, they want to become, more vocal, more, hip and out there. It's fine as long as you know what you're doing. And also, so my point is just be yourself, but there's no harm. It's good for you. Learn on all these skills that would that would definitely benefit you in the real world right after that you graduated. Trust me.
I think both of you have answered question even before I asked the question. This is a good thing, isn't it? This is what you have been taught in the Tesl program, isn't it? To predict what my lecturer is going to ask. So both of you actually are making it very difficult for me right now, because you're already answering questions that I already have in my list. But if I may add, it's not just presentation, isn't it? It's also the questions that we ask impromptu while you're reading something, like a text in the classroom, and or we ask you to read up a chapter or something, and then we come in the morning without any warning. We tell you, okay, Farah, why don't you tell us a bit about what does this term mean? What is the significance of the character, and so on and so forth. But I think that is consistent with what Mr. Azri said. Yeah, these are skills actually that the youths are lacking, and I think if we actually listen to our stakeholders, these are also skills that they seem to be complaining about our graduates, and they don't have communication skills, they don't have confidence, and mentality is not where it should be. There isn't a maturity in there. But I think the Tesl program, I can see, I'm very proud because both of you were our students, so very proud, because it means that the program has done that. Yeah, we do train you to become teachers, but along the way, you've become you've become a great teacher. Like you're able to think ahead of time. You're answering my questions, as I was saying. You're answering my questions even before I actually asked you. I do like what you said just now, Mr. Azri, that you don't have to lose yourself. So, Ms. Farah, are you still an introvert, or have you now changed, shifted to be into being an extrovert?
Well, I would say mostly introvert during high school and Asasi. I just don't like, you know, I don't like eyes on me during that time. I don't want to be, the center of attention. But now I kind of like shifted my mind that if you speak, contoh lah, if you speak ke apa ke, it doesn't mean that macam like it's more than that. It's more than you being in the center of attention. You sebab macam apa macam like what was the question again? Lupa pula.
This is typical of Tesl students, isn't it? We have like so many things in our heads.
To say and I don't know what to say.
We're not able to catch up. Benda ni nak cakap banyak sangat. The question is actually because you started off when you started off, you said you're a bit of an introvert. You don't like to be in the limelight and all that. But how's the problem? Because you're a final year student right now, and I can see that you're a very effective communicator. You've got the confidence. You've got positive mindset. Have you now changed? Do you think you are a totally different person, or are you still, an introvert is just that you're like what Mr. Azri said, just like you can just, snap like that, change when there is need, you become an extrovert.
All right. So to answer that question, I think I have not 100% changed to become an extrovert. I'm still that person, that person who doesn't want to talk. I'm still that person actually. At some point. But then, when I have to speak, when I have to do something, I have to, do something like do anything, then I have to be that person, that extrovert person. It's not that I am changing myself. It's just that, let's say, like I am in an organization, right? I was in SMFP, and then we had this one program, EGA, and I was given an opportunity to be in bureau program. So when you are in bureau program, you know what you have to do. Like you have to talk, you have to entertain, you have to basically become a performer. I mean, I am still Farah who, doesn't want to talk. But when I was given that, platform, I would say, opportunity, then I have to do it, and I have learned, throughout the Asasi year and early semester of degree, I learned, to develop my confidence, communicating skills semua tu, and then I can implement that masa jadi bureau program like that. So memang it doesn't 100% change me from introvert and 100% extrovert. No, definitely not. I'm still that tanak girl, but when you know it's time for you to shine, then you have to shine. Macam tu lah, you have to kena pandai macam fikir, okay, time ni we have to do this and we have to be that girl. Okay, when we are, macam tengah relax tu, okay, we just be our own self lah. And then bila kena macam kena digempak, orang kata kena jadi macam hebat sikit, and then we show our best macam tu. On off switch macam tu lah, just like what Mr. Azri said lah.
Yeah, I think it's great that actually we actually talked about personality, because I think that's a very important aspect for 18, 19-year-olds, their personalities. And like what you said, Mr. Azri just now, there's not one personality that is better than the other. If you're an introvert, you've got your own strengths, and if you're an extrovert, you've got your own strengths. And I think from what you're saying right now, that the Tesl program has enhanced the your secondary personality. If you're an introvert first, the program has helped you to enhance your extrovert in you. You're not an extrovert, but you can be an extrovert if you need to be. Oh, great. Okay, so we have another question right now for Ms. Farah specifically. How do you keep your studies on track throughout the years? Okay, because you're a final year student right now. Mr. Azri, I'm sure this is no big deal to you because, we've graduated, you've done all that. So, but for Ms. Farah now, how do you keep your studies on track throughout the years? Because the course itself is somehow challenging as well. And if I may add, you're also involved holding some posts, right? Yeah. So how have you, been able to keep tabs on yourself and not lose track?
All right. Like what I do, I would use a planner. Like if you know, if you ask my friends, they would know that okay, Farah is equivalent to planner. I really love planner, and I like went to like I have another commitment SMFP and PMDS apa semua tu, but I am also that's a student basically. So what I do is planning. Planning is very important. I use a planner to organize my schedule. I list down my to-do list. Like if in the same week, for example, I am involved in like in my for my organization, then I have to I mean by using planner, I get to see all the things that I have to do, and it somehow motivates me to do it because I have written it down in my book, and then when I see it, I know okay, I have to do this next, and then the first task is okay tonight, and then the second task is tomorrow. So I know what are the things that I do, and it basically, I mean, it develops, I mean, it boosts up my motivation to do all those work lah. It doesn't matter whether SMF punya work ke or even assignments. I mean, I always use planner because I want to see what I have on my to-do list and I want to get it done. Macam tu. Other than that, I mean, in terms of academically, right? Group discussion lah. For me, I really prefer group discussion. I will join group discussion. I will find my friends like maybe like next week we have a week test, and then a few days after that we are definitely gonna have like a group discussion lah. We're gonna study the content of the subject itself. We do exercises, we do drilling. Basically Q&A which is with each other. That's really gonna help you, especially if your friend hijab kan, yang pandai-pandai tu memang that's good lah. Memang your opportunity your opportunity. And then I would suggest to do your own notes because I think before I get into university, I always heard that university tak ada guna buku tulis kan, like in school. Even the lecturers doesn't check our notebook, of course lah. Takkan lecturer nak check our notebook, right? But then do our own notes, notes yang we can write notes during lecture ke using refer to the lecture slide. Itu memang I think that will definitely help lah. What else? So just my point is planning is very very important, and my recommendation is to get a planner, very important, and then group discussion and notes as well. Group discussion with your friends and notes, do your own notes. And lastly, I would say this one is mainly on final examination. Do past year questions. This is going to help you for your final exam. Most of the final exam, we know it carries 40%. So doing past year questions is going to be very helpful. And if you're lucky, some of the past year question might come out again. At least that's what happened to me. So yeah, this three things that I've mentioned just now is my keys, my keys to my success. What are the things that I usually do lah to manage my time, to my work. I call it as work, SMFP, and also my studies. Macam tu.
Madam, can I add just one small point on that, just as an extension?
Yeah, I actually have a question for you, Azri.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. Well, this is related to that. I'm sure it will probably have something to do with what you have to say. Because you know what, I have to be proactive now because you're answering my questions without me asking.
Okay, go ahead.
You see, Farah's ways just now, her methods just now, this is very typical among girls, isn't it? Girls have planners, we write down, we have colorful pens, and then we have colored papers, and then we write whiteboard and all
very
that.
Fancy, right?
Yeah. So I know the question was actually meant for Ms. Farah, but I do want to ask Mr. Azri right now, because boys are different. They think differently, whether we like it or not. They think differently. They're not into all this. They're like, when I go to class, I have my students, the girls will be with colored pens and whatnot. Boys will come in with just one pen, and then when I say, listen, okay, write this down, and it would always be the boys that say, wait, satu kertas. And it will be always the girls who say, kau ni tak pernah bawa kertas, but they will always give, every time without fail, it's always the boys who would. more relaxed. I wouldn't say that they're lazy. It's just more relaxed. So Azri, Mr. Azri, I just want to ask, how would you keep track of yourself? Not lose tabs. How to keep tabs of yourself. For girls, we know it's sort of innate. We have to do what Ms. Farah has said that. But for boys, for male students, this is something we really want to know. From your perspective, how would you deal with that?
Okay, thank you, madam. I mean, my learning approach is always collaborative, because I have my circle of friends who are very dear to me. Even up until now, we still hang out and stuff. So what we do normally back in the days was study together lah. So of course, the note takers are the ladies of the group, and then we just tumpang lah, with their notes and everything. So that one is more on revision and stuff. So that was all. Of course, nearing to exams, barulah terhege-hege nak, revise and everything, buat revision. Sorry, but I think my not greatest, like I would say, I still remember this saying by one of our dear lecturers, if I may, shout out to Madam Rohaya. Now I think Dr. Rohaya. Hi, madam, if you are listening. So she once mentioned that. Sorry, before I go into her quotes, my approach back then was I want to become again a well-rounded person. I want to excel in academics, and also I want to be active in all these extracurricular activities. So I joined all these societies activities. I even joined MPP, but I didn't go and jadi MPP lah. But I did join a lot of external activities beyond UITM. I volunteered myself to all these movements and so on. So being active outside, beyond classroom setting, it's heavy, and also it somehow clashes with your class punya schedule. So of course lah, throughout the years I did skip some. Now dah belajar ni, dah kerja ni boleh lah kan, come clean kan. I did skip some classes, because we want to attend all these activities outside semua tu. But this quote, this saying by Dr. Rohaya, unfortunately masa semester 8 baru I had that opportunity to learn with her, was that she highlighted the importance or the value, or like the sanctity of learning itself, like classroom learning, like cikgu datang, ada students. So that is somehow the majlis ilmu, we call it majlis ilmu lah, the classroom kan, 1 hour class ke 2 hour class ke, that is very 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 valuable, and of course in Islam, when majlis ilmu is done, we have the angels, malaikat semua ada semua. So part 8, I was like, when she told us that, I was like, oh my god, it's very true. So if only I knew that earlier, I wouldn't have skipped a lot of the classes that was run by our lecturers lah. I mean, that's how you manage. You want to be, you want to excel in academics. You want to maintain your pointers and whatnot. So work in group. Always have your group of friends to always discuss, to always do revision together. If you learn alone, it's very very burdening. It's very very heavy for you to remember everything. So at least 2, 3, or 4 in a group. Always bounce ideas, always check on each other on the academic side. But on the extracurricular side, you be active, but also please don't skip classes. Try to avoid skip classes. If you have to, then discuss with your lecturer. Your lecturer is not it's not a monster who will, but somehow for the past few years, I've heard, students punya, I don't know about Farah lah. I'm sure Farah is a well-mannered one. But I've heard, stories of, millennials, especially students yang very, I wouldn't say rude lah. I guess they are in the technology punya era kan. So selamba je, tak datang kelas, tak hormat lecturer and everything. So all these values you got to really learn lah and develop. So Tesl also, you don't just learn the knowledge, the know-how of becoming a teacher. You can also tap on the wisdom of all these great lecturers with wealth of experience in whatever in whatever industries or in whatever courses that they are teaching, right? So that is, I think, the most crucial part, by not just learning the official, the formal book punya content, but to also tap on the professors, the doctors. We have awesome lecturers in UiTM, to tap on their experience, to tap on their wisdom that they bring along together in the class. So stay back, after class, talk to them, hang out with them, ask them questions with regards to whatever apart from studies, in life. Get their advice, because these are the people who have done it, who are there. You are up here. So my advice would be how I personally cope, because I was very active as well, to balance those things. Never ever how to say, never ever look at the academic side. You got to balance lah. Don't skip class. Don't. If you have to talk to your lecturer, have a proper arrangement lah, that would benefit both sides. So I'm sure lecturers are open to or have all these arrangements in place.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Faculty of Education. You were saying, Mr. Azri, about Dr. Rohaya. The thing about the Faculty of Education is it's like a little university on its own, because we've got the Educational Studies Department. These are lecturers, who teach courses that must be taken by all the students. We have the Tesl students, we have the math students, we have the arts students, and then we have the science students. So you've got all, if you've got questions about math, Tesl students with math, we're like, okay. So we can go to our friends who are our math students. We don't have to go far, because we've got a lot of all these courses right there. So you're not just surrounded by Tesl lecturers or Tesl students. You're actually you have to really expand your horizon just by being at the faculty. We're almost towards the end here right now, but I do have two more questions. If we can quickly go through it. First is for Ms. Farah. Very typical question, yeah, this one. How packed is the Tesl program schedule? By Mr. Muhammad Shukri.
How packed? As for the credit hours, from semester 1 until 6, the credit hours are like 17 to 20. Except for semester 7, you will go for your practicum. The credit hour is, if I'm not mistaken, 8 hours. And for the final semester, is only like 12 to 13 hours. But if you are talking about how packed, right? How packed the Tesl course itself, I would say it is not as packed as other course, especially sciences. But most of the time, we do have like, macam nak cakap pack. Like, what do you mean pack? Is it the assessment or the subjects ke?
I think because I've had students asking this question before. They often ask me like, what time does it start? Is it like 8 o'clock every day? And at 6 o'clock every day? Which of course I know the answers, but you would be more in a position to answer that, because you're the student right now with the faculty.
Okay, the class usually started at 8:30. Don't worry, 8:30 to 9. It depends on the lecturer, but the official class schedule is is at 8:30, something like that. But don't worry, our class, we do have like specific time for lunch hour. So paling-paling teruk pun, paling lama pun around 12 until 2 memang is our lunch break lah, so you don't have to worry. And we have Bilik Rehat Plaza in the Faculty of Education. Sangat selesa. We have aircon, we have bean bags, we have food, we have tables, we have like a small playground, I would say. So very convenient. But in terms of the class itself, there are,
It's not,
depends on your semester.
it's not that bad, isn't it? It's not, it doesn't.
It's not that bad. It depends on your semester life. Semester 1, the first year usually very, very nice lah. Very macam very okay, macam boleh bearable. But there are some of semesters like semester 4, we do have several project-based assessment. Like you have to produce big book project. We call it as big book project, but it is group work, so you don't have to worry. Big book project, we do have like a creative. We do have creative writing, where we have to produce a module or a product. Like my group, we did a lingua board, so it's kind of like, it's actually very, very fun sebenarnya. It's very fun. It's just masa the process of doing the product is of course lah challenging, but once you have settled in, memang wow, the feeling is so good. But don't worry lah, I would say everything is under control. Like, you know, it is challenging. If like letak lah mana-mana course pun, it's going to be challenging, but it is bearable. Don't worry. We do have, like I said before, we do have lots of presentation, but the content that we have to present is bearable. So walaupun banyak presentation, gallery walk, but the content that we have to present is bearable. Macam suitable lah for our level degree, right? Macam tu lah. Apa lagi? Itu cukup.
And it's fun to do it. It's not, you know, the burden, the load of works. It's there, but it's you. At least for me, it was fun for me to produce, you know, all these works, to deliver all these presentation, the sketch and everything. It was not. It was never something, you know.
Correct.
It was fun lah. Yeah. It's
like we had we also had readers theatre in degree, and it was so much fun. I enjoyed it a lot. We also had a short film. Memang sangat-sangat best, even though yalah, the process of doing it memang like challenging a bit lah, but memang best short film. We have acting, we have especially during gallery walk. Gallery walk is a bit different lah, compared to presentation. We have the product, you know, the product of the presentation is macam buku, big book, and then presentation macam paper with all of creativity, and then you get to see your friends work tau. At that point pun memang seronok sebenarnya. It's fun. Like Mr. Aziz said lah, memang fun. Dia challenging, memang I cannot deny it. Memang lah, malah kena buat kerja kan, of course lah, macam ada kena put some effort and whatnot, but it is fun. Even micro teaching pun, okay, micro teaching, right, macam oh my god, micro teaching, we have to teach in front of our lecturer and our friends, but once you have, you know, if you do your preparation, you consult your lecturer, and then you get the ideas on what you want to teach, you know, memang right after you have teach in front of your lecturer, your friends, memang perasaan tu memang I did it, macam tu, memang best lah. Even aku teaching at that time pun macam gila, takutnya macam oh my god, I'm gonna die, memang susah. Tapi once you do it, memang best sebenarnya. That's I would say lah. I would say memang best lah.
The load is there. We can't do anything about the load, right? Wherever you go, whatever faculty you go, the load is there. It's just that Tesl is a program that actually, you know, it requires you to actually collaborate a lot with each other. Even if it's an individual work, you still somehow feel that there's a need for a discussion, and then go back to your individual work. So I think to answer Mr. Shukri's question, how packed is the Tesl schedule? It's as packed as any other program. It's 10 o'clock. Very quickly, I just want to ask a few words from you. What do you have to say for our viewers who may be straddling right now, wondering whether or not they should apply for the Tesl degree program at the Faculty of Education, UITM? Mr. Azri, if you would like to start.
For those who are still, contemplating of choosing which course that suits you, which course lah yang you want to explore, right? Of course, my advice would be, as I mentioned earlier in earlier part of the session, to speak with people who have experience in the courses that you are interested in. So that is number one, and do a career test if it's possible. So that is number one lah, just to see which way that you are more aligned to. But I think Tesl for me gave that what do you call that? Again lah, it's you will find that after this discussion, after this sharing and what do you call that? Sharing of experience from both of us, you will. For me, it's oh my god, I couldn't even put in words. It's the amount of excitement that you will get from the program, because you don't feel. Some people, they go through university, I go class and then I go back, I get my degree, that's it, baling topi, graduated, bye bye, and then kerja lain, tak buat apa yang. So for me, I'm not teaching as my profession, but everything that I learned in Tesl, I still applying, I still use all the skills, the wisdom shared by the lecturers, the research that we have done, because it's well-rounded program that exposes you to not just teaching, that is the core, yes, but all these other skills, like I've mentioned multiple times just now, other skills that is very, very core for you to survive in the real world out there. Yeah, if you work with a corporate organization, for example, there are bosses, there are political, there are a lot of other things that you will face, so you got to solidify your foundation, you got to strengthen your foundation in a sense that yourself lah, your personal capacity, right? So if that is solid, and I feel Tesl provides me with that solid foundation as a person, my principle in life, my belief, my because we have a lot of discussions in Tesl program, so we have a lot of different views from different people, from different authors, for example. So that somehow strengthens our foundation as a person, in which we will bring to the career in the real world out there, because believe me, the world is mean. The world is not as easy as you nampak. Kalau let's say business, wah, successful businessman, belakang you tak nampak apa yang dia went through. You nampak all these successful people, even in sports, in whatever industries, you see the results, but the process of them achieving it takes years of practice. It takes years of improving themselves. It takes the whole process of achieving that one moment of success. So Tesl gave me that journey, that processes that I went through, and Alhamdulillah, I'm still young. I'm 30-ish this year. I would say I have achieved a fulfilling journey. I have achieved great, what do you call that, achievement personally and also professionally. I mean, it depends on your definition of success. So if your definition of success is to help as many people, so you are successful in your industry. If your success is being rich, you get a lot of money. So yeah, by all means. But whatever your definition of success, that value, that added value to humanity, your existence, your core existence in life, encompasses the whole thing lah. So yeah, so dia macam deep sikit kan. So I guess that's for me. It gave me that experience. It's hard to put in words. You've got to try yourself. You got to enroll yourself in Tesl, meet all these great lecturers, enroll in all these great programs that they have nicely put for us, and you'll thank all the lecturers and people who have exposed you to Tesl, inshallah.
Okay, it's very unfortunate that we have come to the end. Actually, we've gone more than 10 o'clock, but of course, being Tesl people, we can actually talk about this until 12 o'clock actually if you want to, can. But it's very unfortunate right now that we've come to the end. I must thank Mr. Azri and also Ms. Farah for your willingness to share your insight, to share your experience with us. It's valuable. I hope we have helped our potential candidates who are wondering whether they should take Tesl or not, whether they should go to UITM or not. I think both of you are, very significant ambassadors of UITM. Tesl UITM at that. So I hope that this discussion, this forum that we have had, Sembang Santai here, has helped our potential candidates who are wondering whether they should or should not take Tesl. So thank you so much again, Mr. Azri. Thank you so much again, Ms. And for our viewers, thank you so much for joining us here. If you would like to share what had been discussed here, please do so on Facebook, on Twitter, the millennials, right? The Facebook, Twitter and all that. Do hashtag as UITM Perform 2021 or UITM first. All right. Okay. With that, we've come to the end. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Aisha.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
Bye.